Well, you just saw their war cry. I heard it through our headphones just now, and I was wondering what that sound was, and I think it was T1. I've never seen any of the Korean teams start off a map with a war cry. So this is T1. This is the team full of Korean veterans, and they're going to be facing against Thailand's last hope of talent. This is the last map of this series. We're going to find out who's going to be joining the top 4 next weekend. Let's send this back to our casters, Chobra and Quack.
Meteor's ISO debut. We gotta think back. Last year on Gen G, when push comes to shove, Meteor hops onto that jet, they run the double duelist, and Meteor starts to remind everyone that he was a prime duelist. And this time, it's all about the aim as he gets supported by Buzz's Yoru.
I mean, he is him. It really could happen that way as T1 start things out on the attack, already fanning out a little bit across grass.
Oh, just full mid-control. Buzz opening things off with a nice clean kill against Governor. Draws out the fault line as well, so that's tons of delay used up, a lot of util taken out from Talon, and a lot of space gained by pushing through a short on that timing. Stacks with a nice read, playing that Sova himself. And meanwhile, Izu just going to be supporting on that Cypher as the desk mentioned.
Primi is on the duelist now, though, so maybe looking for a way to flip things around as he continues to swing and peek out against Stacks. Managing to track him midair as well. Still, though, T1 are able to flood the sites now inside of the smoke, but not quite able to deal with a double peek out with Jit Boys and Primi now continuing to peek out. Another player down, and that's going to be just Izu left alive, not quite able to deal with the final 3, and Talon picks up the pistol.
A great choice. Primi going out to make sure he takes down the Sova, recognizing that there's nobody peeking him off of the drone, so it's a solo drone out. You hear footsteps coming from main, and then using their own smoke, backup already there. 2 members filling the site, so even though they were down in actual numbers, they were able to get ready, and a big part of why they were able to do so is because Van's on the other side. He's already pushed out C main, and he says, guys, it has to be A. Keep your eyes on A. If it's not B, it's gonna be A. And they're ready for it. And there you go. You see the energy coming up from Cruz. He got the read on that.
Yeah, just starting things out with this a really successful pistol round again, right? Still, though, T1 continuing to kind of walk their way through. There's a judge on the other end, but still, the shield saves Meteor. He takes down Jit Boys. But T1 breaks it apart.
And we like to joke about the judge making everything fair, but then the shield comes out and negates. And Primi holding backside. It's going to be a double peek. He's still staying alive with the backup. Once again, Cruz keeping his boy alive.
So many rounds. I mean, it's just 2 right now, but Cruz really fired up to keep Talon in and also a little bit closer towards that Masters Bangkok ticket. T1, I mean, they've managed to break things apart a little bit now, but still, you gotta think about how rounds can continue to play out now that you've seen some of the setups and some of the individual potentials that Talon has.
Now, that's something we'll have to keep an eye on, though, right? With the ISO, you can just forcefully try to push through Garage. You can't just rely on, tricky setups with a Judge or a Bucky in that part of the map if you're Talon, so we'll see how they continue to keep that in mind. But now, a buy round coming in from T1.
With that buy round, making a decision to go in with pressuring in towards the A site, A long, namely. So it forces Governor all the way towards the back.
Such a good read, though. This is where this ISO Yoru is very strong, is going to be a main control, and then you can start to rotate elsewhere.
But Cruz...
Exactly. He gets that read. He pushes out from mid, and now you've already cut up the map. Backup already arrived. Somebody already in that smoke on site. And now you're just trapped in. You still got Cypher util to watch that C side as well.
That is damn quick. Well, they still do have the option to possibly rotate back around if they can take down Cruz, but they don't know that. So straight into the A site they go. Get crashed towards the back. Smoke's already out. The Governor is prepared. So counter recon goes out. The site smoke inside of it as well. In with the Outlaw, but no shots found. Meteor able to slay them apart. Here comes the Judge, though, and Sylvan managing to take down Governor.
Jit Boys is a little too low. He's going to get spammed out no matter which way he peeks out. And Izu getting that kill on the flank as well. Very, very big for T1 as they are able to secure a quite safe buy round for themselves.
All right, just managing to kind of break apart the entire side. Of course, with Meteor leading the charge, he has that shield and it's finding a lot of that value, but at the same time, just executing together. There's a lot of coordination in that, where they were able to get Buzz towards the back lines.
All right, production has just notified me that we may have another curse coming our way because we've had quite a few players getting near their 1000th kill this kickoff, and then as soon as they get close, they stop getting kills. Stacks is 7 away, and so far he has 0, so we'll see if he's able to fill that mark up. here at VCT Pacific during this match. But of course, more important is, can you win this? Get one step closer to Masters Bangkok.
Yeah, that's the grand prize right now. T1 already noting quite a bit of utility, so backing towards Garage they go. Starting things off with the clone, so that's been noted. Now they're able to find that space back in towards C-site.
And is spotted, but Jib Boys is here for the backup as well. There comes the contingency. There's the paranoia as well. Stacks picks up a kill from long range. Now backside, you are cornered, Jib Boys. Nowhere to go. They've got all angles covered. It's an absolute swarm and a flood in from T1. And I love that they use the decoy first. That way you keep the shield alive, then the contingency as well. So you keep having to respect the ISO.
Yeah, you really start to see some of their game plans now with this composition, right? Being able to take Garage this effectively, you know, you gotta love it. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and T1 is doing exactly just that right now. First of all, you take Garage, and then the way they push out a Garage with the contingency shield from Meteor allows them to swing around the back of the site, or even to find that angle against Logs, where they took down Jit Boys.
And now it's just going to be a save coming in from Talon. And now you have both ultimates on the duelist of T1. So if they wanted, they could pressure C-side again. Take that Cypher out of commission if it still goes for the default. And then you flood in. Even if Meteor, by some chance, loses that duel, you're still able to take that site.
And this is where T1 really gets to build up their bank, if you will. I mean, just having those ultimates in their bags, you know, really gives them so much value at the same time. Still, or even without those ultimates, they're able to find little bits of space, and that's what they're doing right now. So you got to imagine Talon trying to work their way across the map this time with their setups to find different ways to really block T1 off.
See if it's going to be that ult slam coming in from T1. Eyes trained onto A once again, and Talon, they want to try to get ahead of things. It's going to be a push out of C main. So in case it is a push out with something like the ultimate, they'll be ready for it. They'll be ready to crowd over. And Buzz just going to start going through and clearing everything out with a very forward gate crash. He's got a backup as well. Clears out each pocket, and that should be site secured for T1.
As much as possible. Right? Still holding on to those flashes, blind sides at the same time, just for the post plan. Now it's going to be Izu hearing a lot of these footsteps. The Stampede coming through, and he puts himself into position. Meteor on the other side, holding the crossfire, holding a lot of these sight lines, but Izu's the first one that falls. Off to the next, the fault line comes through. Meteor tries to stay alive with the shield, but not quite enough. Governor manages to break through the opening lines.
Oh, Buzz not quite able to secure the kill either. Primi is buying so much space for Talon. The real question is, can Ban find an opening to get onto the site? Sylvan holds a nice angle. Buzz swings off of it. Jip Boy's good for one. A 2v2, but the weapon's just not quite there. A valiant attempt from Talon, but T1 will hold on.
Yeah, really close to at least, you know, still being able to take a couple of these T1 players down. They retrieve some of these rifles, almost close to it. But that said, yes, still T1 having the positions, being able to flood and push all the way through past like defender spawn, or even just knowing where Talon would be approaching from, just gives them a little bit more in this fight.
So they did have good backup for each other to really set up those rifles, but Sax just saying, oh, don't worry, you know, I got you. So trying to keep the morale up here for T1 as they lead 3-2. And now Operator online for Primi. That's going to be the big one. And look at that aggressive position outside of Garage that he's taken.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of information already, but at the same time, in again with the gate crash in towards A long, and that's been noted by Talon. So Smoke's out, and people are starting to rotate on over to A.
They can do this because of that Operator. You still have trips to make sure you delay on C, hold on to that back site, and then you're watching mid with that Operator. And now with no information, you imagine it's going to be that hit. You start to back up just in case. Fault line at the ready. That's one piece of delay. That's the decoy. And there comes the ISO ultimate. It's a duel between Governor. Meanwhile, Buzz already clears out the site. Meteor wins that duel as well, and that is side wide open. But Jit Boys tries to find the timing with it from the shadows. I love the attempt, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, you gotta love that. If he had found it, that would have been so big. But unfortunately, T1 was just so ready for it. You know, at the same time, Cruz was noting Buzz's gate crash, but somehow still with the flashes, Buzz was able to take down Cruz Meteor with the ISO ult as well. There's so much of it with T1 just giving a lot of pressure to the A site, where even though Talon had the right setups, even though they had Primi with that Operator, the three players on the A site itself couldn't quite fend off the entire force, overwhelming force of T1.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. The From the Shadows for the kill contract, but just one too many targets in sight. And Meteor, a great swivel around after Stacks gets taken down. So eventually, it will just be T1 with 4 members alive. The operator being saved over, and this should let them know that it's going to be carried over, that the operator was purchased in this round, and that it's going to be something they need to look out for, because they didn't run into it here on A main, but you didn't run into Cypher setups either. So you have to start thinking, okay, where was the operator posted this previous round, and now will it come to meet us in A main, because we keep pushing so hard.
Yeah, without a doubt, possibly, you know, maybe a bit of a slower round for T1 right now, or just trying to retrieve as much information as possible as to where Primi might set himself up, because right now, him on that duelist role, you know, you gotta imagine a little bit hinges on him as well. So earlier on was Garage. Now he's gonna position himself closer towards the C site, thinking that T1 has hit A so many rounds now. Maybe this time it's gonna be C, but not quite yet. T1 starting things off slow.
Yeah, but I love this. They're trying to fish out for that operator, right? Because it was like, okay, it's not A, and C, presumably, might have been that Cypher. Meanwhile, it's going to be that Cypher set up on A, so you do have Primi pushing out, which is what you need, because otherwise he would have been stranded on the site. So it's a great call from Talon to say, if we don't see them pushing with util immediately, if we actually hear info elsewhere, Primi, you have to delete this entire side of the map so you can stay safe. And now it's all up to that A site. Can Ban stay alive long enough?
Yeah, he does have all of his traps online. He has the additional smoke from Jit Boys as well. But now, the other problem is Garage is left open, and Izu is starting to note that might be able to find a way in through the C site because of this little gap. Meanwhile, the rest of the T1 team just hold up outside of A long.
But Talon does have their backs covered. Like, they're aware, okay, we left mid open, it could be a lurk onto B, but the real question is does Primi know this? Are they communicating that Primi has to watch out for the C site? Because that might be where things break down. If Primi's not watching for it, Izu, they just barely cross around each other. They have no idea. T1's not taking any chances, though, so they are wary of the fact. Oh, they're very wary of the fact. They're going to smoke it off, and then it's going to be a paranoia out. They just haven't found the op yet. They are so on top of things, and Izu closes off against the Rolling Thunder. That's going to be a shutdown. Primi knives out. Meteor gets a kill on the flank. Primi has to get so much. He lands the shot onto the spike. Gets two ready for the third. And welcome back to the duelist roll. Primi, can he shut things down? Sees the shield, doesn't want to greet it, knows that it's a risk, takes down the shield from long range. His teammate's too far away, he finds his targets, but doesn't have enough play to op out. Stays alive, 2v1, dashes over, trying to close the distance, doesn't quite get it. 78, Ban, he's arrived just in time. He needs to win this duel. There's a flash, it's full, and Baz will clutch up against two of Talon.
Are you kidding me? What is this round? Insane efforts from Primi back on the duelist role, but down to it all, it's Buzz who closes things out. Unbelievable. I mean, off towards the shorty, but Buzz was still able to collect himself, calm down his nerves enough to take down Primi, and then to send out that flash against the final player. You talked about the movements across the map, and T1 played that to perfection. So safe, so careful. You know, Izu dodging that Rolling Thunder, but at the same time, the final clutch moments where Primi was almost able to close it out, but Buzz denies it all outright.
Oh my man, you have to wonder if was there a way for Primi to try to stay alive, try to make that 2v1. But in the heat of things, you know, he chooses, I'm going to try to close the gap. I've got a shorty in hand, and if anything, I'll get damage done. But alas, Ban actually arrives just in time, can't quite land the shot, and they weren't able to keep track of the flashes left on Buzz. And amidst the chaos, it's going to be T1 that continues to lead 5-2. The atmosphere, very different. Both sides tense, but a little bit more calmness on T1. Just gathering their breath, making sure that they can try to stay ahead. Meanwhile, we saw Jovi once again sharing everything on his mind, making sure that the Talon players on stage are ready and armed for the rest of this half.
Right? Both teams fired up. Both teams are hungry, but right now with the current score, Talon are the ones feeling the heat. So of course, trying to cook something up of their own to cool T1 off. Trying to continue controlling the map by swapping around their setups. It's going to be down to Ban on towards the C site this time.
So you've got, look at the trap bars as well, making sure you can catch the Euro if it goes all the way to the back of sight, but it's going to be decoy first. Again, the whole idea is let's just make sure we keep the ISO alive. Let's set everything up for him. And the Yoru, maybe now and then with the ultimate, he'll try to create some space, but otherwise he's really there for the flashes. There's the fault line to try to buy time for that Hunter's Fury, but it's not quite going to land. He tags onto Buzz, and you recognize it's the Yoru. Bad takes a lot of hits, but he'll survive for now with 6 HP.
Yeah, it's so good, and great post-plant positions being held by T1 right now as well, right? Izu marking the back. You've got Meteor with a possible kill contract as well, but Ban just coming back in, takes down Buzz. So now a lot of T1 players stuck towards the site.
Yeah, T1 might have to consider pushing out, but right now, they know that they have that tripwire watching their back. They try to take a timing, but Governor's ready for it. So now the pinch comes onto the site. Izu and Meteor both getting 1 each. 2v3. Help solo, but Izu now trying to stay ahead of these. Meteor with a nice little jiggle finds that 1v1. Going to go for the duel, and this gives time for Izu to just back away from the site. If they don't get the kill, Meteor's gonna come back. They're ready for it. They know that Ban is there. He's been tagged. He's low. The call has come through, and Ban lands the shot, but just not in time. Has to exit and yield the round over.
And once again, a round for T1, just playing the macro game, playing a lot of these individual moments and fights as well. I mean, Meteor, insanely sharp movements just around the boxes on the site itself. The way that he swung out, got that one tap, sent out the kill contract, calm with his aim. Ban, you know, he was down low HP, still managing to find that final frag as well, but down to it all, because of all these efforts out from T1, being able to break down the site that quick, it's just not quite able to eke out the round again. You see those kills, those individual fiery power from Talon, but it's not quite enough to carry them across the line.
Yeah, and it's just such good usage of that ice ultimate as well. It buys so much time, because then you still have to wonder, where is Izu, right? Am I waiting for a 1v1 or a 1v2? And you just can't get that defuse ban. Good for one. Now once again, 9 HP. This guy just has to survive so many rounds and so little HP. There's no way out of there. And now the site opened up once more. Don't have great weaponry. You gotta wait for Primi. You have to wait for your Vandal. Cruz just takes a couple pot shots.
All right, and Jitboy is starting to initiate that flank to at least allow Primi a little bit more space as well. And once again, it's another round where T1 just breaks apart the entire site because of Meteor on that double tap shield that the ISO provides. Still though, now noting that there are players inside of Garage, possibly the flank as well, Izu turns back around to check.
Yeah, that trip being broken. So that's really just draw some people out. It's really trying to set up Primi, but he just gets gunned down by Stacks. 2 on the board in this round, inching towards that 1000th kill. And that's going to be the call for Cruz to say, I just got to see if I can get some kills elsewhere, but he's been spotted. They're coming for him. Stacks needs just 1 more, and he will get it. 3 on the board, 1, and now he completes his Hunter's Fury as well.
Yeah, no shot, no chance for Talon back there, but there it is with the Hunter's Fury, you know, possible 1000th kill record as well. There's so much right that's going in for T1 right now that you got to imagine some of the future rounds. Talon, they really need to try and slow things down. The C site holds, or even just working against Meteor's ISO is quite tricky right now.
Oh, they're talking about their ults. Okay, they've got their ultimates to try to tie things together. Of course, your ult with the Hunter's Fury. A very well-known combo, and it looks like it's going to be the same plan. Gate crash through, then you put on the mask, go through the dimensions, try to open up some more space. Primi, oh, he's been spotted. Here comes the Hunter's Fury. Primi gets Meteor and miss all of that. Stacks, meanwhile, gets his 1000th kill with the Hunter's Fury, and that's going to be a main opened up site, relatively empty as well. T1 starting to march through. Cruz, oh, if he had gotten that 1v1, maybe there was a chance, but now it might just be the round given over again.
Yeah, he was trying to get ahead of it. He was trying to fill out the site to at least hold off as much as possible, find 1 kill and to back off or something, even out the odds, right? But Buzz is just so ready for it. Down with that Hunter's Fury play as well, and Team 1 already has the round pretty much in their bags. It's a 2-on-4, but Talon's still trying. A cage in front of their faces, and they're just going to make a little bit of noise.
I mean, they would love to try to get the round no matter what it takes, but look at the positions. Buzz hiding out in the smoke, making sure he's not spotted up top. Jitboys gets a cheeky kill, trying to even things, but Stacks evens it right back. Now a 1v3, surely impossible. Jitboys wants to fight them, but they will not give him that timing, and he will have to turn tail, back out, get whatever kills he can. No, he's just going to give it over to Stacks as well. A triple for the captain of T1.
Oh, no joy found for Talon. It's 8-2 right now, Chobra. 8 rounds straight for T1, just because of how much they're able to abuse the ISO shield, abuse the ultimates that they've kind of collected up. So many of these rounds where they're able to cycle all of these plays and work across the map with so much of it going through. Talon just not quite able to stall and hold them off.
I mean, this is looking like a little deja vu from map 1. You know, map 2, Talon answered back individually. They were fragging across the board. Right now, Primi, the only one to break double digits, and that's barely at 10 kills himself. The The ping's coming out to mark that tripwire, so Talon, they're aware that's going to be heavier towards that C side. Cruz making sure that there's no rotate coming through just yet. Talon, do they break out of this? Just try to force T1 into a rush. They do. They're going to break it, and T1, they turn their eyes and say, okay, all right, you want to chase us? Let's see if we can fight. No sign just yet. Izu going to be the eyes and ears for T1.
And already such a capable flex player as well for the team. Izu on so many different roles right now, so patient towards the back lines. Meanwhile, the rest of the team backing towards the C site. Flashes out, but Jitboys manages to stall and hold them off this time. The smokes, the flashes, and pushing T1 off.
Stags, meanwhile, going to clean up Primi, though. Governor, are they aware of the double? They're cautious, but they're marching through, and they just swing right by! Governor can't make up his mind! Buzz is going to clear the way as Sylvan jumps forward through the shadows, from the shadows onto the site, and that will be the plan on the A site.
Oh! Not quite aware for Cruz, though. There's going to be the opening shot now. Maybe a chance at working way across. He is still quite aware of a possible gate crash, though. Always looking out for Buzz. Buzz just creeps right around the boxes, gets the first one, but Jitboys makes it a quick trade. Now trying to hold inside of the smokes. Stax and Izu off towards both opposite angles and trying to continue and pull that pressure away.
T1 knows that they're not quite on the spike yet, and Talon knows they have to push out. Jitboys, once again, running out of time. The camp spots him. He needs to get the kill. Can he jump forward? And he should be good in time. Jitboys will be securing a third round for Talon in the half.
Just being able to work alongside each other inside of the smokes, calm and collected, marking and noting T1's positioning. Jitboys with that final TP play to get in within range of the spike as well. I mean, just being able to push and pull across the map this time. With a quick rotation, you know, this Cruz, it was really just Cruz being able to take down that first player against Sylvan.
Yeah, I've been making sure that he holds on to back sight, right? Gets the flash out as well to buy a bit more time and sets things up. If they can get to 4, it's doable for Talon. It's not that bad considering that it's going to be here on Haven with the attacking side having a bit more to work with the 3 sites. Another push out of A main. T1 reads this. Cam broken immediately. Now T1 trapped outside in the courtyard. Not much more information. They're wary of the push out from A, but they don't see much more. And look at Talon's movement. So they take this chance to push out of C. This way, if need be, A main, they could retreat. You see the drone, you could clear it out. All right, they're going to set it up for it. But, I mean, you broke the cam earlier, so surely T1 is wary of Primi. He gets one. He wants to continue fighting. He wants to be the barrier. There are the nice close range. How does he stay alive amidst all of that? Still gets one, almost gets another. But Governor, meanwhile, with a great backup from long range, and Sylvan all alone with only 54 HP. 1v4, knows the Cypher is nearby, and has no clue about anybody else. And Ban will wrap things up, evening things as much as possible at a 4-8 scoreline.
Close to it, but still managing to keep themselves in the rounds. I mean, first it might have been, you know, a little bit of that pressure breaking off the cameras, but at the same time, because of these 2 players, Primi alongside Governor, just being able to work in towards it. I mean, Primi is just so crispy with how he's able to move around that, but that just bought enough time for the rest of the team to wrap back around.
It almost feels like his movement was sandbagged the first 2 maps, and now he's just free to fly around. Looks so smooth, as you said. Just floating through, making sure he dodges everything. Teammate utility, opponent utility, it doesn't matter. Couple of those rounds, we saw just how much time and space he was able to buy as that Jet. But is it going to be enough? Especially now going on to that attacking side. He's going to have to do a lot more of that, and he's going to have to do it proactively. This is going to be a very, very true test for Primi. If he wants to continue to return as that primary duelist, maybe he can unlock that feeling within him and say, go back to Frost and say, you know what? I felt it today on stage. I want to be that duelist again.
Yeah, he really could be the one to carry Talon back up on his shoulders. However, on the other side, we've seen what this T1 composition can do. The Yoru, the ISO, I mean, especially with Meteor back on the duelist as well. He's found quite a bit with the kill contract, the ISO ultimate. He could definitely do it again. And right now with that T1 scoreline, you know, so close to it, you gotta imagine just how much Talon are feeling in their hearts at the same time.
See what T1's plans are. A lot of times that we've seen this, especially, you know, coming out from Fnatic for the most part on the international stages last year. You know, it's going to be a lot of that A main presence, and then the TP out from the Yoru, clear out space in garage again. You know, lots of very, very flexible movement of early undercut to make sure that you take space on A main here from T1. Looks like a shock dart maybe used as well.
Okay, but not much found towards A main at least. Trying to get the peek outs against C long though, noting 3 players already smoking a lot of it off.
Yeah, so backside is smoked off by the defenders. Talon not quite sure because the recon had been sent out a lot earlier. But look at this lurk from Jit Boys. He's waiting for it, but there's a 3-man push coming out from B as well. It's going to be a faraway shot from Ban that just forces him back in. Jit Boys trying to find a timing. Meteor, meanwhile, very quick on the push in. And Jit Boys just can't get that kill against Izu. And this should be a very easy flood back into the site. Spike now being transported over to A, but you just don't have numbers. Ban has to go huge here in mid.
Yeah, might have the positioning, but it's so many targets on the other end, right? Cruz just racing across through the A site to get the spike down, and Ban trying to stay concealed enough to at least find, you know, 1, 2, maybe 3 players to make things a little bit easier for Cruz.
And T1 was staying grouped, but now they've separated. Ban can start to find these 1v1s. Izu is low. Oh, he's just unaware! And Izu's able to spam down on the headshots. Cruz gets 1, but already chip damage. You do have a flash. You do have that fault line. Cruz, can he find the timing? He gets pinged, and that's just going to be right through the wall from Buzz.
Pinged at the last second, too. I thought he might have gotten away from it, but then Buzz just quickly coming back in for those final shots with the wall bang so quick. I mean, just the entire round broken apart because of that tiny little movement from T1 or up around the C site, being able to read it, being able to play around it, but also a little bit unfortunate for Jit Boys inside a garage. I mean, what happened there? You gotta imagine, like, there's a little bit of nerves coming through at the same time, but just, you know, maybe a little bit of a tiny movement from Izu, and it just kind of throws off his crosshair, Jit Boys' crosshair. Really unfortunate for them to lose the pistol round this way, but it does give so much to T1 right now.
Yeah, a huge boost to T1, especially coming off that first half with 8 rounds in a row. You can see it on there on the scoreboard. Already 1 timeout used from Talon as well.
Take flight.
Outlaw in the hands of Buzz. Meanwhile, a Vandal for Meteor. They really want him to be able to fire, and also meanwhile Stingers and the Marshal, a nice headshot crisp onto Sylvan, and they push through. They don't quite spot Izu, but they stay alive, and that's the important part. Meteor comes in, the shield not quite recharging in time, and the Stingers just overflood the site, and Talon will be able to plant the spike.
All right, the unexpected force by Talon trying to mount that resurgence back into the map and quickly surrounding the site. They have the positions, they have the cage, they've picked up those weapons, and they're trying to carry them forward into future rounds. Buzz, though, still trying to find what he can with this Outlaw. Pushes out and manages to take down Ban. Cruz then, though, takes down Stats, and once again, it's all down to Buzz, who cannot quite make it across Premium with that Bulldog, and Talon will pick up the round.
Huge round win here from Talon. They're on their eco, the Force Spy really working trades. Now, some people were wondering, why don't other regions buy more Stingers? Well, Talon's here to try to bring it to popularity in Pacific. We've seen it already twice today. They've used it quite a few other maps as well. And just look at how much force it brings, especially once you're already on the site. That range not really meaning much. And then the weapon upgrades as well.
Yeah, you can kind of understand why as well, right? Trying to pick up that pace, throw T1 off their scent, and close in the distance as they push across the C site. Next round, though, coming up, and because of their full buys now, looking a lot more comfortable and confident as they head down across B in towards the site.
So they try to negate some of T1's util early on with the flash and their own recon, force them back so they'd have to use a lot more. Meanwhile, just trying to bait out whatever they can here from B. Little bit of a float up, but it's going to be all right as Talon able to just march towards the site. Already there is Buzz, but it's a quick trade. Now 2 members still trying to hold on to back site. Talon, they're spread out all across. Governor's still watching the flank, but you're starting to get picked apart on C site. You got to make up your mind. Jit Boys has a spike. He's stranded. He needs cover. He needs help. He's not going to be able to win the fight. Governor gets the trade, and Ban eventually stabilizes for Talon.
Oh, it came down close, Chobra. You started to feel nervous for Jit Boys for sure. I mean, he's just trying to find a way out at the site, trying to find himself, you know, a bit of a secure spot to go into, but every area was still marked by T1 despite just them being on pistols. They were able to rob quite the number of guns away, but because the economy has kind of been flipped around, still the round being picked up by Talon, you know, it's a little bit of reset for both sides. Oh, Autumn.
I don't know if I've ever seen Autumn that upset. I mean, you thought you were getting close to having a chance, but now, all right, they do have a chance. That operator now in the hands of Buzz with that regen armor. So they're really investing everything they got. It's a quick wraparound. You see the drone. They want to make sure it's a quick pop out, a surprise op shot here from Buzz, but the flash just in time. He can't quite get the information. Meanwhile, look at where Primy is. Already planted into the cubby.
Here.
That smoke making it seem like they're trying to mask more information, and Primy just trying to keep them at bay. And that's going to leave Stacks all alone. Does a quick check at Ban. You haven't cleared the site. Ban, okay, he does. In a twist of fate, he can actually win the fight. And for sure, keep that site under control for Talon.
Almost biffing it, but thankfully able to land that flick. And because of that, Talon has the site and the post-plant positions. It's going to take a little bit of time for T1 to really get within range. And that could be the biggest factor in this retake. T1 now, although 3 players are close enough, it starts off with Meteor. Now slowed down by the fault line, and that just takes further time away.
Yeah, and the shield's going to be running out soon enough, but he's going to get the refresh. Cruz kind of gives him a way in. Paranoia to make room once again. Counter Paranoia to make sure they shut down the ISO. He's gone, and that should be the retake shut down. And I was going to mention this T1 composition. You've got so many old core Vision Strikers and DRX members, but this comp, it's not really about the fancy retakes, especially if you don't have the Sova, right? It's really just about, okay, we're going to push through with the ISO like we did on the attack, try to get those picks, and get in. So if you give up too much space, especially if one member holds an operator, things are gonna start to look a little dicey.
And that really was the key for Talon in this round. I mean, with the way that they were able to kind of pull and push across the map, right? A little bit of early pressure on towards C with that smoke and Primy as well. But then, you know, that does leave Ban, you know, leaves actually Stacks all the way alone on the A side. I think Ban was actually the one who was close enough to hear that gate crash away from Buzz in towards the C side, and that's why the rotations were then pulled across over.
So that round alone, showcasing Talon's understanding of how this Yoru wants to play, especially if there's an op in sight, right? We push and pull. If we put pressure here, do we hear any Yoru util being used on the other side? Do we hear them maybe trying to push out? And that way we can get information. Is the undercut being used on A, or is it going to be the Yoru? Is it an op shot? And then they start to push pressure on the other side. So it calls for a timeout from T1 as they review everything that's happened in the past couple rounds. Carpe there in the coaching booth alongside Autumn. Meanwhile, it's going to be Jovi once again, sharing everything they've noted down the previous couple rounds as Talon tries to catch up 2 points apart. Anybody's game so far.
Yeah, still really close, right? Also catching a little glimpse of that 100-page report on Frost's desk right there. But at the same time, yes, 2 rounds away from possibly, you know, really tying things up and turning the game around, because there is still a chance for T1 to get knocked down into the lower bracket right now, especially with Talon starting things off this hot in the second half.
And we're seeing lots of pings from T1 over by the A side. You've got that Euro, you still got the ISO Sova as well, the undercut and the shock dart, making sure that they have lobby control. And the op peeks out. Talon, they're waiting for it. Is it an aggressive push out of Garage? If it's not, the op surely on either side of this map.
We're now not hearing anything though, and Buzz continuing to hold his angle. Meanwhile, Ban already snuck in towards B cubby, which is a really advantageous angle.
So normally the Yoru would be the one to go for those fast rotates, but T1, they switched things up this time. They're just going to make sure that that gate crash is used up. He still has an exit with that second one, and everyone else already shifting their weight. They trust in that operator. It has to be fired off to make sure that he's not getting caught off guard, and he's now going to have to relocate onto him. And you know the op is on that A side, and Talon still masking all information. T1 is blind on this side of the map. The smoke finally giving them an inkling, and it should be trip broken, fault line set, and it's going to be full charge onto the site. Sylvan, can he stay alive? That's a good kill contract to break apart the entry.
Oh, and there it is. Gets that one-on-one against Cruz. Sylvan in with the flash, delaying as much as possible as well. Talon tries to push past the smokes, but Meteor continues to try and hold Sylvan off to the other side of the smoke as well. And Izu comes back into support, managing to take down the Talon players. That's going to be Governor down. Ban out from the back, who managed to look all the way through B, but it's a 1-on-2. Takes down Izu with a bit of a crowd spray, but the spike is down C long. Buzz, 1v1, and not a lot of time for Ban. He's trying to go in for the fights, needing to get the kill, but Buzz with the op shuts it down. It's T1 picking up the round.
Oh, and Ban, you know, he took every page out of the book. He went for that jump peek, he showed his gun barrel, no shots, and he tries to go for a wide peek, but Buzz is good for that shot, and it all starts with that kill contract. Just cuts off Cruz's support, and then they're stranded. They can't quite clear backside. Primi knows he has to start pushing out, tries to inch closer with the Cloudburst, but Meteor is ahead of it. He's actually just holding down as a fortress in the back of the site, and even though Ban won that lurk, it doesn't matter when your entire team has been picked to pieces. That operator is still continuing now. Sure, the econ not great over on the side of T1, half armors, but if the op can still find these shots, that's all they'll need. Try to wrap up this match, 2-1 scoreline.
Oh, Buzz actually starting to push out a little bit more to find an aggressive angle, but Talon trying to create more pressure in towards B as well as Garage.
Yeah, so trying to bait them in, but they're not even going to try to bite. So 2 members still stuck in Garage waiting to see if there's a re-clear. Surely a rotate happens on a timing, and there it is. T1 starting to spread back apart using that drone. Doesn't look like it's going to check for Ban. So Ban has a timing to try to creep back through. Oh, the dimensional drift just for the info. You love to see it because the gate crash is still available as well to get back into sight. He notes exactly how many. Notices that it's not going to be Ban there. Now they know exactly where Ban is. The support coming, but no, Buzz actually just comes out of the ultimate and gets shut down. Ban now holds control in the middle of the map.
A little bit of an unfortunate timing for Buzz, and there it is, Ban with a swing out against Stacks. That's more numbers being thinned away from the T1 forces, and Talon will be able to flood in towards the seaside. It's just Sylvan here, hiding inside of the smoke, trying to find this opportunity. Primi has kind of gotten ahead of him, but Sylvan sneaks off to the other sides. Looks for the timing to find a couple of multi-kills now, 2 going back into it. There's the third. Sylvan still alive. Unfortunately, his teammate's down. Jitboy swings out the left, and that's gonna be Sylvan guns down. Talon fights and claws back.
What a choice from Sylvan, though, because we've seen it in some other matches in Pacific. You stay in that smoke all alone, you are dead. There's nothing you can do. So he just chooses to find a timing out as he hears all that util being spent all around him, and he's able to hide away. It's a nice attempt, but this is just Ban holding true in the middle of the map, and meanwhile, Buzz getting shut down as he tries to jump out of his own ultimate. Bit of a misfortune here for T1 as this was still another heavy investment round.
Yeah, he did have the right read though with the timing of it, sending through that dimensional drift to spot out all the Talon players. So maybe informing a little bit of Talon's game plan for the future rounds now as he keeps himself positioned closer towards B, right? Trying to note if Ban is trying to get himself into that deep lurk. But right now, Talon up against the Eco, they're playing really conservative.
Yeah, so Talon, they go for the triple peek and then check if anyone's pushed out far into Cubby as well. Once the defensive smoke comes out, you know, okay, T1's blind on this side of the map. Now we can work the other. Now they start to pressure onto the A side, and T1 will start to have to slowly inch backwards as they go for these rotates unless they take a risk. We'll see if maybe the 2-3 members on the left side of the map start to push out on any timing.
Yeah, it's up to T1 to really adjust because we're starting to see Stacks again alone on towards the A site, but okay, Buzz. Back into the off angle. Meteor to try to pull the attention away. Buzz will be able to land the shot.
And he gets out as well. Meteor, meanwhile, quickly refills the middle of the site. So that's going to be B site under control. So from the shadows being used by Jit Boys, this is a very aggressive move. As if he gets taken down, that's a weapon given over. Stacks now on the site. It's a clean and shot. Can he get 2? Eventually gets taken down by Governor. Spike still not planted, but it is a 2v4. Numbers not in favor of Talon from the shadows just to try to buy time. It takes him off the plant. Primi gets spotted. Doesn't quite see the headline over by the window. Now they're going to be wary if a gate crash comes down. Do they get faked out by Governor? Wants to get ahead of it. He wants to get out of the flash, but he's already the half flash too good. Primi against the world, and it's just too much to bear.
Starting things off with a bit of an eco, but T1 managed to complete it. Completing the thrifty 11-8 against Talon. Just finding those movements. Stacks with the kill to delay and hold off the A site. Even though it was just one, it bought enough time. Buzz with the Vandal pickup as well. Just with the off angle, this time noting a lot of Ban's movements across the map. Just so much of the reads coming up from T1 right now.
Yeah, and just the teamwork as well. Making sure now they're starting to get the read on that lurk. They know that Ban has really been hitting that B site non-stop. And it's going to be Frost and Jovi, the coaches of Talon, calling a timeout before it gets too late. 3 points apart. T1 2 steps away from getting to the upper finals, where you will only have one more best of 3 before you're qualified for Masters Bangkok.
Only one more best of 3. That's what it means for T1. Talon really trying to turn things around. You can see how much Frost is really trying to get involved with this, because their current game plan is being read by T1, and off a round like that, economy reset as well, T1 being able to buy back up, it's just a little bit dreadful. They're gonna have to change things up a little bit, you know. They've managed to kind of suss out a lot of Buzz's early movements, maybe a little bit of Stacks as well, but if they're then able to find some kind of a pinch or a rush play, they could break things apart.
Yeah, I mean, Talon, see if they can find a better timing, because I think T1 has accurately identified that Talon's always going to be just a step behind in terms of tempo, because they're still waiting for Ban to take that position. Now it's going to be an all-out brawl towards that A side, but T1, they don't want to even give a chance. They are going to chase through. Thunder Fury gets 1 tag. Sylvan already chasing all the way up to A lobby, and now everybody shoved towards the left side of the map.
Would you look at that as well? Buzz instantly gate crashing to reinforce the C site. You got Izu right around the corner too. So even though Talon has kind of made the right call or read to push themselves closer towards C, nothing found just yet. And T1 are here and ready to defend.
Oh, and I love that as well, waiting for the peek out coming in from Izu, and Sylvan up top, they just don't expect it. It's the double kill, Spike dropped, and once again, Deja Vu, 2v4, Governor and Primi against 4 members of T1, all at full health.
It is Governor and Primi though. It's a 2-on-4, but it's the 2 hardest hitting players on the side of Talon with 40 seconds to work around. They might be able to sneak into the C side to get the spike down. Can they hold off against 4 incoming players on a retake?
I mean, Primi just needs to get kills, right? Sure, you have the Hunter Shuri, but in a 2v4, you're not relying on that to secure the post plant. You notice that there's a tripwire watching that entrance. You try to clear out C main, nobody there. So Primi looking for more kills. He tries to find one. He gets taken down by Izu. Governor left all alone this time. He has to fight. He has to take it to T1. But can he find the timing? He's already been noted that he's close by, and there's the contingency. Only good for 1. Once more, as T1 will knock on the doors to that upper finals.
Just swinging off the contingency shield, just that tough for Governor. No, I mean, no chance you use that Hunter Sphere in the 1-on-4, right? So it's just a tough spot to be in, but there it is. That's map and series point for T1. Just being able to work across the map that way.
This was just great, waiting for Izu as Buzz just tries to get more space, but really, Sylvan being planted so early on, and Talon, they were so busy running away that they had no idea.
And that's one way to use your opponent's timeout against them, right? You have that ultimate, you use them against your opponent's timeouts, and it really just throws a huge wrench into their game plan, where now Talon just desperately coming in with the Guardians, trying their best to fight back and live for another day.
All right, it's going to be their own Hunter Fury trying to find Stacks. They don't get the second ping onto him. He dodges all of them. Full health, and backup has arrived. You've already pushed window as well as T1. Talon, you are trapped in A main. You will have to battle your way out of this if you want a chance to continue as that first team to Bangkok. Ban gives an opening, a little bit of breathing room for the Thai squad.
Does he expect another, though? Izu is on a bit of that lurk as well. Puts himself into position. Governor taking down Meteor. That makes things a little bit better, too. But here comes Izu, spiked down. And he's managing to get hit by the flash. So a little bit better as Jitboys comes in with that support, and Primi taking down Izu as well.
Yeah, 4v2. Now things have flipped. Talon surely feeling a bit more comfortable. You've got that trip watching your back as well. You can jump over this one. So Sylvan gonna land it safely. Neither of them heard. Oh, I would be a little worried if you're a Talon fan right now, because I don't know if they quite expect it. Ban, he knows that it's a possibility. You see the pings on C main as well. Now everybody's watching the angles they need to try to secure this round.
Yeah, they have the numbers, so even though they weren't quite looking the right angles at that moment, they're still fully aware on where T1 could possibly be. Governor marking in towards Garage. Does spot out Stacks, but Stacks takes the fight. Up from behind, though, Ban sneaking a little bit through. Will be able to take down Stacks, and there it is. Jitboys against Sylvan. Talon will live for another round.
3 more chances for T1 to try to close things out, to try to really lead the charge towards Masters Bangkok. as we await to see still who would be the first team from VCT Pacific to qualify to an international stage in 2025. Great shots from TALON this time. Much calmer, not rushing in and just covering each other's backs. We'll see if that can continue for 3 more rounds.
They certainly need it. TALON doing a little bit better this time, especially with how Ban was able to take down Buzz towards the back. That's what gave them that extra lifeline. So trying to keep that up, but look at how T1 are trying to control the map right now.
And Izu just trying to be the bait, and it works! Buzz lands the shot onto Cruz, that's the breach down! The Yoru's out! Backside still in control by T1. Back up, not quite here yet, but there's the kill contract. We'll see if Meteor can win this fight against Primi. Primi versus Meteor! Meteor wins and shuts down the Jet! T1 has filled the site, and all hope is dwindling! Jet Boys fight!
ดีไม่เอาน้องเฮ้ยเน็ตหัว
For his life, trying to fake them out, all the mind games thrown, but undercut, it's everything, and Meteor will once again prove why he has joined the T1 squad.
Meteor, just truly the extinction level event that will lead the charge for T1. Down as the ISO, leading the charge on the attacking half with his shields. Down with the kill contract in the final round as well. Just being able to stifle and shut a lot of talent down.
What a showing from Meteor and Buzz. I mean, the whole team. Obviously, we talked a lot about Izu and his flexibility and what that means for this team. Once again, he returns to that Sentinel role and showcases he's looking just fine on it. And Frost, he was throwing a little shade to Buzz, you know, talking about the trash talk after the match. But hey, I mean, if Buzz keeps on winning, he might as well keep trash talking after the match because he's keep on getting those chances. Of course, a huge round of applause for TALON trying to bring it back, but at the end of the day, perhaps the desk